Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Joseph James Show. I'm Joseph James, your host. Week after week, we come to you with valuable interviews from the world's most interesting and successful people. Our mission is to build a community of highly skilled and highly intelligent people that learn and work with each other for the betterment of one another. In this week's episode, we have a special guest, Jason McNamara. He is from Palm City, Florida, and he has a story in business that you need to know about. And so we can get to know a little bit about Jason, I have a little bio I'd like to read for you guys. Jason is the founder and overseer of the No More 9 to 5 Club. He found his passion after a successful career in sales, where he transitioned to business development, investments, entrepreneurship, coaching, and training. He co-founded 4DVs, which is a business accelerator and efficiency optimization corporation meant to help entrepreneurs quickly scale their small businesses to maximize their potential. He also sits on several nonprofit boards that range from revitalizing lower income neighborhoods to coach youth baseball to give back to his community. Before all this, he ventured into real estate flips, long-term rentals, and short-term rentals, and he still manages his portfolio today. He invests in businesses and endeavors not only based on intrinsic value potential, but looks for opportunities that will give back to the world as well. Hi, Jason. How are you today?
Hey, I'm great, Joe. Thank you for having me here today.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Let me just let the audience know there's 3 parts to this interview. We have the intro, and Jason's going to tell us all about how he started growing up and what came up and what didn't. And then we're going to move into his middle years as he started learning about businesses. And then we'll just get into what he's doing for his community and all you guys out there. So let's get into it. I'll just let you start off, Jason. You could just, if you want to, just tell us a little bit about how you grew up, where you grew up, how that went.
Sure. Well, let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
I was born in the Caribbean, but I quickly relocated to South Florida because that's where my family wanted to go, of course. And as a baby, you don't get much say. So I grew up in South Florida. My mom and dad got divorced shortly after I was born. I didn't have any brothers and sisters, so I grew up as an only child in a single parent home. So I had to get creative. I had to entertain myself a lot. You could say I had a lot of free time to get into my own mind and nurture myself. So those years were lonely. You know, I had a lot of learning to do. I was a little socially awkward, but as later on in life came about, that all went away. You know, I closed some of my flaws, my gaps to excellence, as I like to call them. Definitely not perfect. I still have more to go. It's a continuous cycle. So I lived here in South Florida, and eventually, as I was coming of age, I say coming of age as in like starting to turn from a boy into a man. I started getting out more. You know, we didn't live in the best of neighborhoods. I always tell people part of my story is I didn't have a silver spoon in my mouth. My mom worked overnight shifts at the hospital as a nurse. And so a lot of times, you know, we had a budget. I had a budget for clothes, a budget for food. Sometimes there wouldn't be much in the fridge. So I kind of learned about budgeting at a young age. I learned how to need things, how to want things, how to be hungry. Later on in life, of course, as I studied psychology, I understood Maslow's hierarchy of needs better, but I didn't know it at that point what it was. So I grew up with a rough crowd, you know, being in a lower income neighborhood. I was one of the few white kids in the neighborhood. And I have some friends that I grew up with that, I mean, most of them are just absolutely amazing people. Some of them had some gaps to excellence. And throughout life, I was able to help close some of those. I might be getting ahead of my story though. long story short, growing up, fell into the wrong crowd, but I always had a good mentality. So I fought my way out of it. I worked hard in school. I worked hard at my jobs. I worked hard to save my money, to earn more money, to invest my money. Um, and then I can put a hard stop and tell you I joined the military. But we can definitely ask more questions about my childhood if you want me to stay on that for a little bit.
Well, let me say thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so you kind of jumped through teaching yourself all this stuff when you were living alone as a child. What struggles did you have and how did you manage to overcome them?
Well, I had a lot of struggles. I had, like I
Or
said,
what's
social
exactly maybe
awkwardness.
what stands out still today?
Well, thinking back, of course, money was always an issue. You want to be financially secure. You want to know that you have food in the cupboard, so to speak.
Mhm.
Also, one of the big differences between my childhood then versus now is my social abilities. Back then I was a little socially awkward, having spent so much time alone and isolated. But after obviously getting out for years and talking to many, many, many people, I don't feel socially awkward anymore. I went up on stages and got awards in front of thousands of people and had to make public speeches and all of that. So that social awkwardness is definitely gone. Um, mindset was a big difference. Obviously, when I was growing up, I had learned a lot from the people around me, but nobody taught me the mindset I have today. This took many years to develop. So my mindset, I like to coach people when I do. I tell them to be careful of those distractions. Watch out for those squirrels. Not trying to just find the next nut. Like we all go after things that give us dopamine boosts in our brain. And
Mhm.
sometimes those things that make us feel good aren't actually good for us. So trying to teach people that, what I learned, the the best success you'll find, the best way to feed your own brain, your own ego, is to actually set long-term goals and short-term goals and take daily action steps to get closer to them. And when you learn how to reward your brain that way by accomplishing your goals and your dreams, it's a game changer.
Totally agree with that. Um, so you also, I didn't see that in your bio, but you consider yourself a mindset coach? Do you do coaching with one-on-ones and groups and so on and so forth?
Yeah, so I actually have several bios with several different companies. So we have Marketing on Fire. I can talk a little bit about that. We have the No More 9 to 5 Club. We have Rock You Academy and 4DV's Consulting. Rock You Academy is actually a coaching platform for coaches, speakers, authors, and entrepreneurs. And we help them from taking whatever their expertise is to developing branding, all the way to the full technology implementation, driving traffic, and even closing down the sales. So I have access to a large group of coaches who actually pay us to coach them. But I would absolutely consider myself a mindset coach, even though I don't have the time to do it for everybody. I try to take videos and automate it because there's so many people that I want to touch. But mindset is extremely important. One of the first things I do in the No More 9 to 5 Club is I address people's mindset and attitudes. I want to set realistic expectations.
Right. Well, if I can bounce off of my childhood with yours, I was pretty shy guy. But one of the gifts of being shy was that when you're not talking and you're just observing other people in the room, wherever you are, you pick up the body language. And as I got older, I felt like I became intuitive to people and I could figure them out in 5 minutes just from their body language. And that was all because I was shy and wasn't engaging. I was observing. And so I look at that as a blessing. Mindset for me, I went back to college in my early 40s and took behavioral science, and all the mindset I needed was in there. And I rearranged my life, and that's when my spiritual journey began. Through the mindset, through the self-help books, through the seminars I went to, and it is so important. Mindset. People do not realize that your mindset is set when you're 7 years old. Everything, your beliefs and values, everything is already pre-programmed in your subconscious. And so when you're in your teens, your 20s, your 30s, and so on, up the ladder, if you don't take a look at that, they're going to rule your success or your failure, depending on where you're at. If you're in the fixed mindset group, then you just feel like this is this is what life dealt me, you know, and I can't improve on myself. Education, diversity, trying something and failing and saying, well, I can't really do that. And then I'm sure you hang out with all the growth mindset people that just want to improve themselves every day. Every day, to me, you should be learning something new, something it's going to keep you active and alive, and it's going to open up other doors for you, because what else is there in life other than learning, knowing, and finding out who we are and how we can help other people.
I want to touch on what you just said for a second, if I may, because it's extremely valuable and important. I tell my people the same thing. I say, because I'm obviously trying to coach people on how to make themselves better. So the No More 9 to 5 Club, everybody thinks, well, how are you going to make me money and help me quit my job? Well, like I said, we have a lot of free training in there. Mindset is important. What I tell people is, right now you are trading your time for money. If it's, you know, a certain dollar per hour or salary or even commission basis, and it's a one-time trade, you're not getting any residuals off of that. So how you can leverage your time better, more effectively, is instead of worrying about how you're going to quit your job or how you're going to invest your money, worry about how you're going to invest in yourself. Make yourself more valuable. Pick up more skills. The skills you have, sharpen those skills. Become an expert in something, and then become an expert in something else. When you become more valuable, it's going to be impossible for you to trade your time for less value, because you're going to know what your worth is. So the very simple, easiest way to explain the No More 9 to 5 Club is to meet people wherever they're at and give them the financial literacy, the wealth mindset training, the alpha training, the stoicism training, the social and emotional intelligence training, all the tools. We have a lot more that we develop. There's all complementary of the club. We wanted to be like Robin Hood and get the best of the best and give it all out. What actually works, right?
Yes.
So that mindset is extremely important, to want to get up every day, to have that motivation to improve yourself, your situation, and your future. And a lot of people, they don't have the mindset to actually improve themselves. They want to do better, but they don't take any action. They don't implement. So that's an important difference. I wanted to take note.
A lot of people don't know that they have that stuff in their subconscious. They don't realize that there's another part of them that's told them when they were young that you're not really going to go far, or money doesn't grow on trees and you shouldn't be successful. And all of that stuff is all stored there. And a lot of people, unless you can sit down with them one-on-one and start asking questions and seeing what's holding them back, then it's like an aha moment for them when you say, well, this is what's holding you back. And if they really want to get ahead, like you said, you're going to have to do some hard work, because it's not easy for a lot of people. Change is just, people want to stay in their comfort zone. That's what I find out the most.
We have a fear of failure, or a lack of confidence, or a fear of learning, whatever is holding them back. I've met people that work at jobs, and I know they probably weren't getting paid much. And I told them about the club, and I said, hey, would you be willing to let me help you out? And they were like, no, I'm very happy. Well, excuse me, I don't want to mess up your happiness. If you're content, you tell me you're happy, I'm going to believe you. I definitely don't want to mess that up. So I have a saying in the industry, like everybody knows the saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So my saying is a little bit different. Why would I want to lead a horse to water who isn't thirsty? If you're comfortable, stay comfortable. If you know you're a little bit uncomfortable, you know you want better, those are my people.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you know they're going to perform and they're going to want to improve themselves. And if somebody's offering you that, why not take it? Why stay stuck? They don't know they're stuck. They're just comfortable. I have 17 years of sobriety, but prior to getting sober, I didn't want to go to treatment because I was afraid. And I felt comfortable in my little lifestyle of drinking every day. That I understood and I knew it, and that's how my day went. So to pluck me out of that and try to send me to a treatment center, that's scary. Even though I'm killing myself with all the alcohol I was drinking, I was still more afraid of making that change. And one step further, I started this online stuff at the beginning of this year. And I quickly realized people are doing videos and they're doing lives and they're doing their faces all over the place. And I, from the age of 9, had a fear of public speaking. Limited beliefs. Anything with public, playing baseball and everybody's watching you. It's all up to you, Joe. It's all, I didn't like that at all. Or stand up and take a bow. Great work. I always excelled at everything I did, but I never wanted the accolades that went with it. So when I got here, I had a coach that just eased me into it. 5 minutes a day, every day for a couple of weeks. Next thing I knew, I was doing interviews. Then I did podcasts. Then they said, you know what? You got the voice for a podcast and you have so much information on mindset. Why don't you do your own show? And that was in July. And I said, no, I'm too invested in my business the way I'm going with that. But here I am now because I got so much positive feedback about the podcasts and how it went and how I all the stuff. So it gave me a confidence booster. And I'm 69 years old. I'm not in this to become like some of these people on Facebook. You know, you're going to make $50,000 in 3 months and all these stories and all. I come to believe 3/4 of those people are probably struggling because not that many people make it. You really have to be dedicated. So you started well, start with your little menial, I won't say menial, but you know, your small-time jobs that you started out and try to dabble in and see where it was going to take you. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So before I tell you about my formal jobs, I just want to say, as a kid who didn't have much, I've always had the mentality of trying to get more and finding out what other people needed. So before I actually ever worked for anybody else, I worked for myself as a kid. Meaning I would find out other kids on the school bus in my class. I would find out what they wanted. You want my Pokemon cards, or you want my marbles, or you want my this. And I would figure out what I had that they wanted, and then I'd figure out what I'd be willing to trade it for. So I've always had that hustler's mentality, if you will. Let me figure out how to add value to the world somehow, figure out what you need so we can have a beautiful relationship and we can get value from each other. Because at the end of the day, if I make a trade, we both agree, we're both happier. I have your toy that you didn't want anymore. You have my toy that I'm not playing with anymore. It's a win-win, right? So anyways, besides that, I had normal jobs. I worked at Subway. I mean, my first job, I think, was at Subway or Burger King. So I had like 2 fast food jobs. I became the office manager of a private school, and I also worked at the Walmart distribution center, throwing boxes, which is great workout, 12 hours a day.
I could imagine.
All that before the military. So those were my, smaller end jobs, if you will. I was going to school, I was going to college, but I really went back to school full time after the military. But in the military, I was in the Navy, and I was going to be an aviation technician. That's what I went to school for. And then they came into my class and said, "Who wants to go to Cuba?" Well, they gave us a little spiel about what we would be doing, and I put my hand up. So I'll go to Guantanamo Bay. So I went there. I ended up doing detainee operations for over a year. I won 2 Navy and Marine Corps achievement medals, one for going above and beyond during a high tension time where, people were possibly about to be rioting. So I stayed on and worked 24 hours a day until everything calmed down. And then the CIA hand selected me to assist with their interrogation. So I got the next Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal because I was the guy that moved the detainees from where they were at over to the CIA's building, put them where they needed to go, and oversaw that.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to get a time frame here if we could. Is this after 9/11?
Yeah, 2008 and 9 we're talking about.
Okay.
Yep. And so I was assisting in the interrogations down there. Basically just doing oversight, making sure
How'd you
everything.
feel about that? I'm always curious to hear the other side. We always see the people that are getting interrogated, but I always like to know what's going on in the mind of the interrogator.
I'll say this. You know, I still can't talk about everything because of OPSEC. I
Sure,
signed some
sure.
papers a long time ago, but I'll say that I served with a lot of fine Americans and we did our job excellently, if that's even a word. But we excelled at everything we did. We made sure we followed our operating procedures. We did everything by the book. We didn't have slip ups.
So
Everything.
they trained you to be an interrogator. And did you think
I,
you were
I
natural?
wasn't an interrogator. I was
Mm.
providing the security for the interrogation.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
And
Okay.
I'm not going to say I didn't pick up a few skills along the way,
Sure.
but I used to have a joke when I was in sales. I used to say, hey, listen, I used to be a prison guard in Guantanamo Bay and assisted in CIA interrogation. So let's make this quick.
It's kind of scary. Credentials.
No, it's always delivered with a smile. People know, you know, obviously you said you're good with body language. I would usually have a real laid back, relaxed demeanor. Obviously there are certain things that trigger me that'll make me get defensive, but for the most part, I live a life. I built this life, you know, with the waterfall behind me, the pond, all this land I'm on, to be secure, to be safe, to have everything that my family and I need to thrive. So security is one of those Maslow's hierarchy of needs that I didn't always have growing up, but I do have now. And
Right.
you know, we can get back into, you know,
Did you
mindset and
get to
stuff
the
like
top of the
that.
pyramid? Do you
That
think
well,
you're
I don't even like to look at the world as any kind of pyramid. You know, you can look
No,
at
I meant
government.
Maslow's pyramid.
Oh
Maslow.
yeah, okay, yes, no, that pyramid, yes.
Yes.
Um, I uh I like to say I was playing entrepreneur, but my true heart is in philanthropy. My true heart is in giving back and just watching people succeed. Because once you take that, you know, you get that security. You have your social network, you have your respect, you have your food, you have your future mapped out and laid out, and you understand it. Then you can stop going through life worrying about yourself. I can stop worrying about me now, and I can say, what do people really need? Like, what's going to make the biggest difference? How can I apply myself and change the world? So I think I'm there. Yes.
That's enlightenment.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well,
I
good for
still have
you.
more work to do, by the way. I don't want to sound like
We
I have a
always
big
do.
head.
Come
Yeah.
on, otherwise you'd be God.
Right.
So anyway, you're going to college, what was that? After you got out of the military, like in your early 20s, you went back to college, psychology degree, I gather.
Actually, no. I was about to become a firefighter, so I got my EMT certification. Then I switched and I decided to get my associates in accounting and my bachelor's in organizational management. And then right now, I decided to go back to college again to finish up my MBA at the University of Miami. So I got about 4 months left on a 2-year program there.
Currently
Um,
now,
currently now,
currently now,
I'm a
in
full-time
your
student.
spare time, right?
Yes. So boy, that's so I've got so many coaches on top of my teachers. I've got coaches that coach me still. I'm closing my
Yeah,
gap to excellence every day.
yeah, sure. Do you need a motivator?
Yes, sir.
We all need them.
I have to set
Be
myself
accountable, be accountable. You know,
Mhm.
you start, sometimes, you know, there are days I wake up and I'm just like, I really wish I could just hide under the bed today, you know, because you know what you got to do with it. As soon as you get up, you get motivated and you do your routine, you're there. You're there. So, I mean, it's, so let's see, let's talk about some fun thing. Well, as you got older, did you have any challenges or did you learn any survivor skills in the regular world, not in the military?
Absolutely. I had a ton. You know,
Tell us a big challenge you overcame.
I always like to think I had a more advanced mindset for my age. So I always got along very well with my elders because they respected my mindset. Whereas some of my peers didn't have that same mindset. So I'd say one of my biggest challenges, even during the military and after, but not for too much longer, was desiring a large network of friends and sometimes having those friends have interests that didn't align with my long-term goals. So I would slip for the sake of having fun and set myself back. When I started to change my mindset more as I developed, I realized that I had to cut certain people out of my life, unfortunately. I can't bring everybody from my past into my future, especially if I'm trying to change, they're not trying to change with me.
Mhm.
So I'd say I wasted a lot of time spending time with people that I value, that I still respect and appreciate, but had to politely separate from just because we were going different places. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Well, we're all on the same, a different journey. And it does make sense. You surround yourself with like-minded people so you can grow. If you're surrounding yourself with people with a fixed mindset, for instance, they're not going anywhere. So if you're hanging out with them, you're not going anywhere either. We all get on the same level with the people we have in our life. And I just personally think these people that come into our life are to teach us a lesson, or we're going to teach them something. And it could be a couple of months, a couple of years, a lifetime. These people are strategically placed in our lives to teach us something we need to know at that moment.
Everything happens for a reason. I love that.
Right. And if you don't get it, then you'll get the next time it's going to come in a little harder to really shake you up a little bit to get the message. So that's how
Absolutely.
I see that stuff. So that was a challenge for you to cut the strings with certain people, which I think is a good thing, because you got
Yeah,
to, number one, you're number one. You got to take care of yourself. You got to have self-love. When you have self-love, then you can offer it to other people. But if you don't like yourself and you're all mixed up, you don't have a whole lot to offer people.
thi- this is the way, and that took me years to figure out the social, the emotional intelligence, the need to put myself first. Because I've always had a big heart. I've always had the mindset like, hey, if I can do something for somebody, it's not going to make me cause me pain or make me too uncomfortable. Let me be the big person here because I've had a lot of successes in life. And I realized that doing that sometimes was actually the opposite of what I intended. Sometimes I enabled people to continue failing where I should have given them the tough love that they needed. Um,
Mhm.
so, in learning those lessons in social and emotional intelligence and not enabling people to fail, and also putting my foot down with what I need out of a relationship or what respect of my time or resources, and saying, it came to a point where I told people, I said, listen, I can't help you anymore. The only thing I can do is give you advice, but I don't even know if that's going to be helpful because you don't want to take it. You want to do your own thing.
Well, I cover that a lot with different people, learning how to say no.
Yeah,
It's
that's an
so hard.
important.
Yeah.
I I I,
People
I
with low
still
self-esteem are usually the ones that the culprits, that they're afraid to say no because then they won't be my friend or stuff like that. And it's usually the reverse. They're using you as a patsy because they know
Mhm.
you're going to do it. And it's not going to help you grow. You're just going to feel the only way you're having a relationship with the person is saying yes to all of their little medial things that they can do themselves.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so
Yeah, learning that was important, and I've met people from all over the world, people that could never, I don't want to say never, but who weren't in a position to do anything for me. And even if, I don't care if they're in India, Saudi Arabia, Africa, whatever continent they're at, I will spend time with them and I will treat with them with the same respect that if I'm talking to a fellow CEO of another multi-million dollar company, because, and I want to help them and give them my best advice and give them gifts because I like to see the good in people. I like to empathize with people and really try to change it. And I was talking to my chief operating officer about this the other day. He's, most of my team is combat vets. People just don't practice the golden rule anymore. And that's the problem. They don't treat others how they would want to be treated.
mhm. It's as I get older, I've watched it over the decades to the way things have just taken a take. So I'm like you. I try to block that out. Don't pay attention. Don't watch the news. I get the top headlines. I'm still here today. we're going to make it a happy day and a positive day. I'm not bringing any of that negativity into my life because it holds you back and you start having those bad thoughts in your head that start creeping up because you got to battle those every day too. You know, from my end, they're mostly gone because what I had to do and what I teach people is how to rephrase those negative thoughts that are in your head to a positive something. You know, you tried it, you did your best. So the next time you do it, you'll do a little better. Not, oh my God, you're horrible. I can't believe you're such an idiot, la, 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 and all that stuff you grow up with. And it depends who you hang out with. It opens that door to mindset. I mean, it's so important. You can't stress it enough.
You're absolutely
Tell me
right.
what you do for fun.
Ah,
You have a family, you said. You mentioned a family. So I hope you give them some of your precious time.
yes, so actually, my son is running around out here with our puppy. I just gave him the hand signal, like, don't come up and talk. I'm on a meeting. He understands. My other son is inside. We homeschool both of them.
Mm,
The missus is out and about networking right now. She's doing her thing. And my uncle also lives on the property, so we take care of him. He is a good man, and we wanted to make sure that he was comfortable in his older age. So he lives here as well. And so it's what the five of us on this property, and then we've got some ducks and chickens, and we've got a pond stocked with fish. And
wow.
what do we do for fun? So, you know, I love teaching my kids. That is the reason that I homeschool them. I love spending time with my family and helping them close their gaps to excellence, talking to them about their mindset, training them with the things that they wouldn't have learned in a regular school, which is why
Hmm.
I'm homeschooling them.
Hmm.
So that to me is extremely exciting when I can see their little eyes light up and they're like, that light bulb went off. Oh, it's another game changer. My kids are evolving. That's huge. Um,
Oh, I commend
uh,
you on that.
Thank you.
That's really nice.
And there's other things, we like to make jokes and listen to music and sing songs and hit the beach and play football, throw the football around and do different little things like that. And kids even
Hmm.
like to hop on the video games, and sometimes I'll spare a few minutes and get on with them and get all excited and then walk away because I can't spend much time playing video games these days. I always make a joke. I say building the No More 9 to 5 club has become a full-time job. I was happily retired before this, but anyways. I still give them my time, but I do plan on our next steps is actually to turn our primary residence into an Airbnb. We're going to plant a 1 acre food forest here. We've already got the yoga swing and the four-wheeler trails, and it's set up really nice. And then we're going to start
Hmm.
traveling. We're going to hit all the local chamber of commerce meetings, networking with different business owners, helping them close their gaps to excellence. And then I want to hit all the different chambers across the country. We're going to hit a grand tour. We're going to do that for about a year, and then
RV
after the next project.
with an RV.
No, no. So we do have an RV, but our RV is going to stay here. Oh, we like to travel light, so we'll probably just take the truck and we'll pop in different Airbnbs and hotels. We
I'm
really like
jealous.
to
You
live
got the
light.
life going on down there. That sounds like a perfect life to write a story about.
I did do a few pages in a book, and somebody said, no, you have to do your own book, not just like be a co-author in a book. So that's probably something I'll focus on one day, but I can't, we still only have 24 hours in a day. So,
That's true. That's true. When the time is right, you'll know.
mhm.
You'll get that little feeling. Um, okay, so that'll probably bring us right up to how you got started and how you figured out what businesses you were going to do and how you started doing that. And let everybody wants to know that. I do.
Sure. So after the military, honorably discharged, I got out, started going back to school, bought my first house, started the roll on that. I got a job as a disabled veteran outreach program specialist, working for the state of Florida's Department of Economic Opportunity. My job was to help veterans overcome barriers to employment. So whether I'm going into the woods, trying to get them housing, getting them off the bar stools at the American Legion or wherever, or I'm just meeting them right when they're fresh getting out of the military, my job was to help them overcome their gaps to excellence and utilize their transferable skills and to help market them to the employers. to get them work.
Mhm.
So I love that job. My company and I, we actually broke records. Um, and it was hugely intrinsically rewarding, but it didn't pay very well. So with that being said, after that, and you got to excuse me, the housekeeper just pulled up. So a slight distraction. After that, um, I took a job doing sales because I wanted to get paid more. I know I wanted more for my family, and I knew that low salary with the state wasn't going to cut it. And with sales, it took me a few years, but I eventually rose to the #1 spot. I retired as the company's #1 residential sales rep in the nation's largest family-owned pest control company, Massey Services. So I was able to go up on stage, collect awards, and there I learned a lot. That company, they had a different type of mentality, one that I truly respected and appreciated. I wasn't a sales guy. I was a trusted advisor. I added value to my customers' lives by identifying what their actual problems were and giving real solutions. So that then developed into everything else that I started doing. So after that, retired, homeschooling the kids, COVID hit, all of that good stuff. We started doing some entrepreneurship activities. I got together with a group of veterans. We almost started a crypto hedge fund. I'm glad we did it. But we did start a few nonprofits. So we got the Revitalize, Stabilize Fort Pierce, the TC Sandlot Crew, the Senior Chief Ron Zimmerman Foundation, and Artie's Mission. That last one is really cool too, because I incorporated it into the No More 9 to 5 Club. We take the National Medal of Honor Association's character development training and we implement it in whoever wants to learn, whoever wants to be more like a hero.
Mhm.
So as we were building these businesses out, I started meeting other entrepreneurs, got involved in this company, Marketing on Fire. Marketing on Fire is really, really unique. Have you ever used ClickFunnels?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I have a few. I have whatever.
So,
I think they give you 20 of them for the year. If you sign up for a year, you get 20 funnels. I've only used 5 of them, but yeah, I have it. I don't know how to set them up. I have them, and I had a coach that did that, DI done for you thing.
mhm.
Yeah.
So we built it so that people, the first thing they do when you join the community is they say hire a ClickFunnels expert. And you got to pay somebody, and then you want to send out emails. You gotta get HubSpot or one of these other platforms. So Marketing on Fire is not white labeled. It's not one of those softwares that we just rebranded. It's actually completely built on PHP, and it's an amazing software. Anybody anybody. I mean, we literally have trainings in there so anybody can do this and go in there and build their own funnels. You don't have to hire a Marketing on Fire expert. We made it really simple.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the biggest advantages of it, and we're just now getting out of beta, one of the biggest advantages is we have our full CRM, our full text, email capabilities, everything in-house in the software. You don't need third-party software to support your mission now. And we also have a free starting point. So anybody, this is why you'll understand why I'm so aligned with this mission. So anybody, whether you're a 13-year-old kid who's hungry and you need to figure out how to make money legally, anybody can start this pathway to success. Even a 60-year-old, 70-year-old who's like, I can't learn technology. Hey, listen, it's free. Spend a little time on the computer clicking around and see if you can't get it figured
You
out.
advertise that on Facebook?
We haven't started doing any ad spend yet. We've been putting the finishing touches on everything, but it's there.
That's amazing.
So I would invite people
you
to
hear
check out
people
the
that
No More 9 to 5 Club and the Marketing on Fire in the earnings section of the No More 9 to 5 Club. And
well, when you
we
say
have
the
a
word free, they don't give free on. They suck you in. We're going to have a webinar. We're going to give this away and that away, and they never give much away.
You don't even need a credit card to sign up. We have a pay-as-you-grow mentality. So we're going to give you everything, access to all of it, including the emails and text. But you're going to get a limited amount of access. We're not going to let you send out thousands of text messages for free because those cost us money.
Right.
But when you master the software, when you master the program, you'll realize how great of a deal it is, how valuable it is. And then as you start growing and you start needing more services from us, we give you a very reasonable price that, again, is going to attract a lot of market share away from those competitors.
Right. So that's when they'll start paying after they master the free stuff you're giving them. And then they say, hey, this really works. Okay, let's really get into our business or whatever they're going to be doing with it.
A true try it before you buy it scenario.
I love it.
Mhm.
There needs to be a lot more of those out there. Like some of these coaches, they charge quite a bit of money, and there's no guarantee. And what I found in this past year, after about 6 coaches, they all give you a little piece of something, but they never have the whole package of doing what you got to do.
Mhm.
So I hire a coach, they teach me this, and then I'm okay, where do we go from here? Hire another coach that's, and so on and so forth, and it goes all the way down the line to, I know all the ins and outs about this stuff now, but marketing isn't my forte. I'm a coach. I want to just be coaching. I don't want to be advertising. I write content every day on my Facebook page, and it's always everything to do with mindset. So I get a good, decent following, but it's usually, most of these people are not my ideal clients. They're sitting on the fence, or they must like the way I write, because I write long content. I was told, don't write long content. People don't have the staying power. People that need it, I put all the value in there, and people that need it will read the whole thing. So I'm doing a good service in my heart. I know I'm doing okay, just putting that out at the moment. But I'm gonna have to look that up on your site, or send me some stuff.
Well,
to
let me tell you about another company that we have.
Yeah, please do.
I touched base on Rock U Academy. We also have a place in there I think you might really like called JV Jams. It's a joint venture community for coaches, speakers, authors, and entrepreneurs. And again, we do have, of course, paid programs and paid options, but we have a completely free starting point for people to dip their toes into the water. So I don't know if you have any affiliate structure, or even if you just want to network with other coaches, learn a little bit about what we're doing, and you might even pick up a few things that you were unaware of to help close your gaps to excellence. I always invite everybody I meet into that company, especially if they're a coach. So I would be doing you a huge disservice if I didn't tell you about it. That, as well as in the earnings section of the No More 9 to 5 Club. And the No More 9 to 5 Club, so there's so much wrong with affiliate marketing. A lot of people think affiliate marketing is, I have to sign up, I have to pay for this program, then I have to convince other people to do the same thing so I can get my money back. And if I convince enough people, I'll get paid. So I wanted to make a game-changing revolution. So again, we have the completely free pathway in the No More 9 to 5 Club, including 3 free published campaigns and funnels for a lifetime with up to 10 edits in Marketing on Fire. So most people just have to pay just to even get a website. We don't have any monthly fees or anything. We do have paid programs. We have a virtual assistance lender program. Some marketers came through our funnels trying to steal our team. The team is very loyal. We take good care of them. They understand our mission, and they're heavily involved. So that didn't work. But we have the free pathway. We have a quick, low-cost, fast-track upgrade for people who don't want to take the time to learn Marketing on Fire, no matter how easy we make it for them to do. And then we also have a couple of paid options. We have the done with you affiliate marketing, done for you affiliate marketing. We have coaching programs, but our coaching programs are truly unique. We're actually looking for coaches. And Joe, you hopefully as we scale, maybe we can do some business together one day. But because of my huge collection of coaches that we work with, that we joint venture with, I can almost cure anybody's problems. I mean, honestly, with my mindset and everything that I've been through, most people, when they give me their problems, I'm even able to help them come up with solutions, whether it's on, physical fitness or their love life or whatever.
It's health, wealth, and relationships. Those are the 3.
I feel like I'm qualified to talk about all 3 of those.
Well,
But
that's
I know
wonderful.
my time is limited, so that's why I get
Yeah,
other coaches to
seriously.
help with this. So our Gap to Excellence coaching program is basically where we meet people wherever they're at, and they bring us their problems that they know they have. They're like, hey, this is what I know I want to make better. So we focus on what they are mostly concerned with, and the whole time we're evaluating, looking for other issues, looking ways to add value, looking for the underlying root cause of some of those issues. And once we identify that, we close people's true gaps to excellence without them even knowing it.
watching you get animated while you're talking about that, that's your passion out of all the stuff you do. I could tell. And I know why, because you're changing somebody's life. And then watching the transformation is unbelievable when you see how they came in and how they're in 3 months, how they may be ending, the coaching service that you provided. It's amazing. And it feels so gratifying to be able to do that. And it's not that hard when you understand it.
Really,
It's not
it
that
truly is.
hard.
And it's rewarding, like you said. Like, so when I get to, close my own gaps to excellence, I get to achieve my own goals. It's great. But when somebody comes to me with their problems, I empathize with them. I feel their concern, their frustration. I want to fix it. I want to
Mhm.
make their life better. So when they listen to me and then they get those results, I get that nice big thank you at the end. It was worth it. I tell people all the time, I say, if I talk to you for an hour and you learn one thing, or I can just make your life a little bit better, even it's free, we'll never talk again. I don't care. If you got value, I'm happy. If you,
I'm
if
right
you are
on
a
with
better
that,
person,
brother. That's how I am. In this year, I've had more people that I didn't sign up that I helped than the ones that I did sign up. Because I have my hour session for free and they tell me something and I'm not going to make them sign up for this one thing that I know I can tell them right here, right now, and they can go on their merry way and be happier.
Mhm.
It's
Exactly.
not about the money. It's about doing your best, coaching, advice, whatever you're doing. And I'll get messaged 1,000 times from these people. What are your goals? What do you see yourself in 6 months? And my mind doesn't go to numbers. It really doesn't. My reward, if I do a great job, I'll be rewarded. I say, my goal is to be happy. Are you happy? That's the answer I give, because I didn't have a pat answer for a while and they're putting you on the spot in some of these people online there. But I know, just as you say, it's rewarding just passing on some information. That's what we're here to help each other.
Yes, sir. Community. We got to support each other.
Yeah. So let me see if we can do, you have any books or stuff you would like to recommend to anybody that have helped you or not?
I mean, the Four Agreements is always a good one. And honestly, I love books about stoicism. So if somebody
Mhm,
can get like 365 days of daily stoic quotes, things like that, I
mhm,
think that's a game changer in the way people think. Because a lot of times people need that refresher in their mind too. I always tell people, I was giving our character development training course the other day, and I was telling the kids, I said, remove yourself from your body. What I mean by that is just think of yourself as a character in a video game or a movie. Elevate your mindset and imagine that you can see what you're doing 24 hours a day, even behind closed doors in the room. Now, what your character says to me, what your goals are when you're moving through life and I'm not around, is your character actually doing things to achieve those goals? Or do you just say, I want to be an athlete, I want a scholarship, I want to be a lawyer? Are you actually doing anything to accomplish that? Or is that what you say because it sounds good? Think about
mhm.
who you are and who you're actually going to become based on what you're currently doing. And if you're happy with those results, keep doing it. If you say, I want this goal, and you say, I'm not doing anything to achieve that goal, well, then let's say you don't want that goal anymore. And let's be realistic, or let's realign what you're doing to help you get to your goal. So when kids start realizing that, or people in general, that they really can look at themselves from a different viewpoint and look at themselves as if they were somebody else and really control their lives in a more efficient way,
Mhm.
it's game changing for a lot of people, because then some people never get that revelation that you are you, but you're also a different you in your brain than when your body, and you can really elevate your mindset.
Some of that is mindfulness, isn't it?
Yeah,
What you're
sit
talking
around and
about?
meditate, sit perfectly still for a half hour, you know,
Mhm.
it's important. Not enough people do it.
I know, because the thoughts are going around and around and around, and people are engaging with them. And a lot of these thoughts are nonsense. Nothing's gonna, you're just rolling the reel over and over in your head. That's what the best form of therapy that I learned, because I did psychoanalysis for 2 years. But if I sit down with you and I have a problem and I start talking and you listen, when I say it out loud, I'd say 7 out of 10 times by you speaking what's going on up here, you get the answer. It comes to you just by saying it out loud. It's amazing. That's what therapy is.
You're right.
So what's a piece of advice you'd give somebody starting out in their career? In your career?
In their career or in my career? Okay.
In your career, I guess. I guess as an entrepreneur would be best.
Anybody, whether they're starting off in a career following my path or their own path, is to make sure that they are taking care of themselves. Love yourself enough to invest in yourself. And I don't just mean set some money aside in your retirement account for your future. Like we talked about earlier in the podcast, learning something new every day, sharpening your skills, closing your personal gaps to excellence, invest in yourself so you become happier and you make yourself more valuable. That's my advice.
Well said.
Thank you.
And the last question is, is there something you want, a question I didn't ask you that you'd like to answer or put out there? Something that might help the audience, I guess.
Well, I guess not so much a question, but I would like to know, I would invite the audience to check out all the complimentary trainings that we have in the No More 9 to 5 Club. And I would really like to know what else I should add in there and give out for free to change the world. I really want to know, how do I make people's lives better?
In other words, what people are yearning for, what's going to help them. Well, that was my next thing. I was going to tell you to put out there how they can contact you. Is it just to go on your Facebook page?
Yeah, they can go on my Facebook page, the no more 9to5club.com, the no more 9to5club.net. I'm Jason McNamara. I think we're on Instagram, TikTok, Quora, YouTube, a few other one of those social medias.
So if they start out with Facebook, I guess they can, and they start asking questions, then you can direct them if, as a starting point.
We have a Facebook page and a group, so they can join those. Just search the No More 9 to 5 Club. And we have staff that, handle it most hours during the business day from, 8 a.m. Eastern all the way up to, I think, like 9 p.m. Pacific or something. So we wanted to capture the main point of when people are awake in America. So we always have somebody there that's willing to engage, willing to answer questions and show you the way.
Excellent. So this has been a joy to experience. Thank you, Jason, for joining the podcast today. We'd like to invite you back for a future interview as well. With that said, this is Joseph James with the Joseph James Show. Be sure to follow us, and we'll see you in the next episode.